One evening, Cedric Thorncroft, a renowned detective from London, was on his way to a grand dinner invitation at the mansion of the wealthy businessman Sir Gregory Harrington. Thorncroft, famous for his brilliant mind and his uncanny ability to read the human soul, had been invited to a traditional dinner hosted by Sir Gregory. However, something about this invitation didn't feel quite ordinary to him. Sir Gregory Harrington, an influential figure in the world of business, had faced turbulent times lately. While his name had once been synonymous with success, recent events had led him into troubled waters. The dinner, which included several of his close associates and old friends, seemed to be arranged with a hidden agenda. Thorncroft could sense that it wouldn't be an ordinary evening. When he arrived at the mansion, Thorncroft noticed the guests were already gathered around an elegantly set dinner table. The attendees included Sir Gregory's brother, his former business partner, a renowned artist, and a journalist. The guests exchanged brief greetings with the detective before returning to their conversations. Everything seemed perfectly normal on the surface. However, Thorncroft's sharp eye didn't miss a thing. Each of the guests appeared to be hiding something. As the dinner proceeded, an air of tension slowly began to build. Sir Gregory, after a few courses, raised his glass and addressed his guests. "My dear friends," he began, his voice more serious than usual. "Recently my life has been consumed by trouble. I'm on the brink of bankruptcy, and there are those who wish to see me fail. But tonight, I've invited you all here not only to share a meal, but to ask for your help. I need you to stand with me in the face of these enemies." His words hung in the air like a heavy cloud. His guests, still unsure of the gravity of the situation, exchanged uneasy glances. But Thorncroft, ever the observer, could see the fear in Sir Gregory's eyes, fear that was all too real. The night carried on, but Thorncroft couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly amiss. Sir Gregory's nervousness seemed to grow with every passing moment. Thorncroft could tell that something in his past was about to catch up with him. His attention turned to Sir Gregory's former business partner, Leonard Blackwell. There was something in Leonard's eyes that Thorncroft couldn't quite place. But it was the look of someone who knew more than they were letting on. After a few drinks, Sir Gregory's anxiety grew palpable. He seemed to be unable to keep his thoughts to himself any longer. "My financial dealings, the people I've crossed, I can't keep running from them," he muttered, mostly to himself. At that moment, a shrill scream echoed from the other side of the room. The guests rushed to the source of the sound, only to find Sir Gregory lying lifeless on the floor. His eyes were wide open, filled with terror, and a knife was plunged deep into his chest. Thorncroft wasted no time. He began to carefully examine the crime scene, his mind racing. The guests were in a state of shock while Leonard stood to the side, his hands trembling. The journalist immediately pulled out his phone to call the police, but Thorncroft stopped him. "No one is leaving this room," Thorncroft said sharply. "This is a crime scene." He began to question each guest in turn. As he spoke with Leonard, Thorncroft could see the guilt written all over his face. Leonard, now visibly nervous, spoke in hushed tones. "Gregory. He was making enemies, and I tried to warn him," Leonard admitted, "but I didn't want him dead. I just wanted to save him from the mess he created." Thorncroft's eyes narrowed. Something didn't sit right. He quietly examined the knife on the table, and then, almost instinctively, he dropped a coin onto the surface near the blade. It was a subtle move, but Thorncroft had learned over the years that even the smallest details mattered. As the police arrived, Thorncroft had already pieced together the puzzle. Leonard, desperate to prevent Gregory's financial ruin, had taken matters into his own hands. The knife, placed on the table, was the weapon of choice. But it was the coin casually rolled onto the surface that had given Leonard away. It was his subtle slip-up. When he had placed the knife down, the coin had fallen, a sign of his own guilt. The truth came to light. Leonard had murdered Sir Gregory to stop him from filing for bankruptcy, which would have exposed the criminal dealings they had been involved in together. Thanks to Thorncroft's keen eye and methodical approach, another mystery was solved, and another killer was brought to justice.